So, on our YouTube channel, you probably know we ask a lot of questions. Pretty much every day, I put a poll up there and we get your thoughts. But Zach doesn't pay attention to those usually. So, it gives us the chance to have an episode. We look at your thoughts and we decide, what do we think? And we give you our thoughts. But of course, Zach also gets to try to guess. That's what we're here to do today. Let's see how he does.
Hi there, welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where we take my bad habits and turn them into entertaining content. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. I don't know what he's going to come up with in those intros, but here you go. Zach, fresh and savvy and right off the press.
Yeah, I have not been as active as I often want to with some parts of our channel, but that means I get to come into today blind.
That's right. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different topics that we've asked you already on the YouTube channel, and you get to hear our takes today. We'll go through a number of them, and we'll see how closely also Zach can guess what the masses decided. If you enjoy this sort of content, as well as book reviews, our takes on movies, all sorts of nerdy stuff related to fantasy, science fiction, horror, and whatever, be sure to like the episode, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss all the kinds of stuff we bring your way. And thank you to those of you who are Patreon supporters and help us keep this coming out all the time. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate you. All right, let's get to it. We've got some questions here. These are a few months back now. And I pulled some of the best ones, and we're just going to see how you do. So this one, the question is, which is your preferred currently still running fantasy on television? The choices I gave people were The Witcher, House of the Dragon, and Rings of Power. They also could just say something else if one of those three was not their favorite, their preferred. What do you think? Which one do you think won there first?
I am going to date this episode ever so slightly and say that this was things currently still active, things still going on. If it has had its final conclusive episodes by the point of this episode, it still could have counted.
Right.
So for that reason, I think something else takes this.
Okay.
Because I think it was close enough that people were excited about the coming final season of Stranger Things.
Well, something else did not win. House of the Dragon won. 47% of the vote. Something else
wasn't going to be the other two.
Something else got 21%, tied with The Witcher at 21%. Rings of Power, no, just 10%. And I don't even know who you people are.
Look, I think it's fair to enjoy Rings of Power. I think it's wild if it's your favorite, even of those options, when one of the options is anything else.
Right? Yeah, but for me, of those choices, House of the Dragon, I would also vote for. I think that was a good pick when you're talking straight fantasy.
I think The Witcher absolutely had a place in that argument.
Had.
But yes. There's problems and contention and actor switches and a lot of discontent within people even who enjoyed the show.
Did you watch any of season 4?
No, but I don't think I've seen season 3 yet. I'm behind on most of my fantasy television.
I did watch 1, 2, and 3, but I just had no interest in 4. And I'm like, sorry, this is one time where an actor switch, loses it for me. Henry Cavill was the best part of The Witcher. All right, next question up is...
What do we got?
About space travel. And I think I know what you're going to answer on this one. I think so.
Okay.
Should stories aim for realism or spectacle? Which do you prefer to read / see? It could be book, could be movie, TV show, whatever. The choices were realism, get the physics right, or spectacle, I'm here for escapism, not math, or neither. I'm sticking to fantasy realms.
I could be wrong, but I think that last option will actually get the lowest amount of the votes. I do think people are down for sci-fi. That being said, I think if you're more of a sci-fi fan than a fantasy fan, you're going to want the realism. But I think more people in general and more people who consume our content lean towards make it cool.
So you're saying Spectacle would have won this poll.
I think so.
And with 57% of the vote, you are correct. But what about you, Zach?
I
think you want the realism, don't you?
It depends on if I'm reading it or watching it.
Okay.
To a certain extent, I love some element of realism when I'm reading it. I think that's really cool. It doesn't have to be actually real, but an attempt to make it look real, to show and explain something that's plausible, or even just put in little details that make us understand what's going on. One of the worst things that I think sci-fi has done is introduce the ideas of inertial dampeners. I love having to figure out and deal with G-forces. That's something that I think is really cool about space travel.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, when it's on a screen, throw it out the window, bring the whimsy in, have some fun with it, go crazy with your wormholes and all that nonsense. Make it fun.
Nice. Speaking of wormholes, and by the way, I'm with you. Same opinion. But wormholes, did you see Stargate is coming back?
I saw that it is doing I think it's technically a continuation,
It's
not a spin-off,
it's
not a
going to be
reboot, but a
another series.
continuation.
It's not reinventing anything. It's just here later in time now. Here's another Stargate.
Stargate SG2.
Whatever they'll call it. But what's really cool is some of the initial people who created Stargate are involved with this new version. So it's not new people coming in with their own ideas to make a fresh and new Stargate. No, it's the guys who did the stuff we loved coming back to do more of what I think we'll love.
Hopefully. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, next poll. I've got, which of these would you select as the better gateway fantasy books for new readers trying the genre?
Okay.
I had offered up 4 different series: The Chronicles of Narnia, The Hobbit, so that's not a series, it's a book, the Harry Potter series, and Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Of those 4 choices,
I didn't expect to like most of your choices necessarily. I think...
Wait, why?
Well, I thought you'd pick things that, like, you thought were good gateway fantasy, but, like, I didn't necessarily agree with. That being said, personally, I think Narnia should be last of those 4. I don't think it will be.
Okay.
That's me just throwing this out here. That being said, take or leave, lots of different parts of it. I think one of the best potential early gateways to fantasy that we have had in the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years is Harry Potter. There's a reason it expanded the genre and blew up YA as big as it did. And it probably should win this poll. I don't know if it did. It probably should.
Okay, so when you say it should, is that meaning that's your opinion of them? You would have voted Harry Potter?
That's my begrudgingly, I might pick it. In truth, I would probably pick The Hobbit or Percy Jackson because that's my preference and a little bit of gateway, especially as with Percy Jackson. It's a gateway into older mythology as well, which I think is huge for getting people interested in fantasy in general.
It had something to do with me getting into it, yeah.
But when you add in how successful both Harry Potter, the books, and movies were, there's some element of being able to really get wrapped into that world and cultural phenomena that is really helpful as gateway.
Okay, so with all that stuff that you've postulated, which one do you think actually won the poll?
I'm going to go oddball. I think The Hobbit won.
And it did. 43% picked The Hobbit, but Harry Potter was behind at 32%. Not that far off. But sorry, son, Percy Jackson lost. Only 8%.
No, I'm certain it did. And that reflects, I think, more our audience than just an objective one way or another. I do think there is something also to be said that it is absolutely written to the youngest demographic of those. That is both a pro and a con in this case. It's certainly not something I would give to someone who is an adult as gateway fantasy.
Okay. Shifting genres. We're talking about the Alien franchise, the movie franchise. Yep. I asked which Alien franchise film is the best. The choices they got were Alien.
Okay.
Aliens.
No.
Alien 3.
Still no.
Or other. Meaning you could have picked if you thought any of the others was the best of the Alien franchise.
Alien, the original, wins this, probably should win this. Small chance other could or should. I haven't seen a couple of the most recent that I hear are fantastic, possibly the best since the original. There's a reason that the original spawned all the rest of these. It is the best of them, partially for originating the concept.
So I think I'm hearing you believe the original won, and you would agree with that.
I believe so.
And you're correct. And it's an overwhelming majority. 54% went with Alien. 41% went with Aliens. And that's a fair pick, too.
Odd.
The reason being, it's also a very well done movie, and it shifted the franchise. You know, Alien is a horror movie in space. Aliens goes more sci-fi in space. And then they start spinning out of control.
Fair enough.
But the reason we have all the other sequels is not because of the first movie. It's because of the second movie. Because the others follow the tone of the second movie.
But,
in my opinion,
arguably, the others, as they get campier and worse, are following that tone of the second movie. When we start getting back to good Alien movies again, it's coming into this concept of trying to harken back to the days of the first one, maybe.
Perhaps.
Bring some of that horror back.
Yeah, it could be. Either way, the first movie, the second movie, the third movie, Sigourney Weaver's the best part of any of those movies.
Yeah, the fourth movie is definitely the worst of those four.
The fourth was Other. Or you mean the fourth movie in the series?
Yeah, no, I mean the fourth movie in the series.
And then there's the Alien versus Predator AVP. Those are just a hoot to watch. Please don't take them seriously.
No, that is its own category, its own thing. Very different.
All right, here's another one. Which of these long-running nerd franchises has held up best? 3 choices were given them. Doctor Who, Star Trek, or Star Wars. Which has held up the best? And I'll tell you, there was a clear winner, and then the other 2 are almost a dead tie.
Yeah, I'm like, define held up the best. I think I have to give clear winner Star Wars. But I don't know if I agree depending on definition.
I'm trying to break this down. You're saying you would pick Star Wars, or you think they picked Star Wars?
I would begrudgingly pick Star Wars. I think our audience picked Star Wars. And the only reason that I don't it's a begrudging pick and maybe don't agree based on definition. I think Doctor Who and Star Trek both have a certain element of like they've held up and kept the same tone and feeling to their fandom. Star Wars probably has maintained the largest and most consistently big fandom, as well as continuing to produce more and more and more. But it also just feels like the most toxic of the fandoms. But to be said, it always kind of has been, so maybe that is it holding up the best.
Well, Star Wars lost this poll.
Really?
It did. And I think Disney has a lot to do with that. Star Wars, there's just been a whole bunch of content churned out of mixed quality in recent years. Plus, the final trilogy of the main movie series is not beloved. You know,
for sure.
The original trilogy, people love that. The second trilogy, there was some real hate for some of it, but it's aged better in a lot of ways. But the third trilogy, wow, that's the contentious one.
Maybe this is me misunderstanding the poll. I very much took it as which of the fandoms has held up, not which of
I never said the word fandom. I said franchises.
And I guess that's where my brain took that as, yeah, the franchise, what's been going on, the people who love these things, who are wholesale into it, and not is the quality now as good as the original quality.
No, I'm talking about the franchises themselves, the content that keeps coming out. So with that in mind, Star Wars is out. Now it's between Star Trek and Doctor Who.
I think Star Trek, because you look at a beginning point and end point, and you see the dip down in the middle as something that, it had a dip period, but we've come back.
Okay, Star Trek, won this poll. 51%. And I would agree. I think Star Trek is the one that wins this the best. Not that everything Star Trek's put out has been flawless and perfect, but it's put out some pretty great stuff, and even some of the newer content, while it may alienate some people, Some of it's been spectacular. Lower Decks. Have you watched some of that?
I have not.
That's a hoot. Okay, so what a lot of Star Trek has done, even when it has ticked off some longtime fans, it has still held true to what Star Trek's always been about, which is talking about social issues, talking about pushing the envelope on how we look at each other. Consistently keeps doing that in the midst of putting out great content. So I think that's why it holds up. But that's just me. All right, let's do another one. For this question, I ask, in general, which makes for a better apocalypse story?
Not zombies.
You had 4 choices: alien invasion, zombies, AI takeover, nuclear war. And I will tell you, this one ended in a tie with 333 votes when I pulled it. There's been more votes since. It ended in a tie for first place.
It's not zombies, though there are some that are really good zombie things. I don't think zombies wins this. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you're wrong. Maybe you're right.
Maybe that's my bias. Then we're looking at nuclear, AI, and aliens.
Right.
Aliens is one of the winners. If it's not, I'm shocked.
It is one of the winners. I'll let you make it easy.
Thank you. Between AI and nuclear fallout, I think AI should take this. But with recency bias, depending on how people feel about the Fallout TV show, that could swing things.
Interesting. So you're thinking nuclear war tied with alien invasion?
No, I think AI's takeover still did. I think AI takeover tied with alien invasion. And I'm going to be very sad when zombies did instead.
No. AI lost this poll.
Really?
Only 14%. But alien invasions took in 35%, as did nuclear war.
Again, maybe there is something to my
thinking of what makes for the better apocalypse story. They're thinking nuclear war as the foundation for an apocalypse story, alien invasion as the foundation for an apocalypse story. Yeah. Zombies was only a teeny bit over AI, though. It wasn't close.
People do like zombies a little bit better than the Terminator, though, apparently.
All right, here's another one. Which of these film series nailed its adaptation of the books best?
The Lord of the Rings.
And I had a subnote on this poll. I put, for the record, I do believe there is only one right answer. The choices were Dune, Harry Potter, The Hunger Games, and The Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings clears this by a mile.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about this. And we agree, don't we?
Yeah, 100%. Now, of the other 3, which do I think have the best adaptations? And I would have said Harry Potter for a lot of this. I did really enjoy the more recent Dune Part 1 and 2. I think it was well done. I don't know if it's necessarily an amazing adaptation, but I thought it was really well done. So there is an argument to be made. The Hunger Games being the phenomenon it is, cool. It's the bottom of this by far.
It's true.
Gotta be.
So Lord of the Rings, 68%. So over 2/3 going that way.
Look, people know what they're talking about.
Harry Potter, second place with 14%, but Dune is right behind it with 13%.
Yep.
There were 429 votes when I pulled this. So this one got a lot of votes.
And Hunger Games got 3 votes.
Yeah, 6%. So it was more than 3 votes, but it wasn't very much. All right. Which of these science fiction movies do you appreciate the most? Let me read it again so you're understanding the question. Which of these science fiction movies do you appreciate the most? So the choices were Blade Runner, The Matrix, Interstellar, and The Martian. And there is a clear winner with a majority.
So we had that, and that. There's a solid chance Blade Runner wins due to the wording of the question.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. I don't like Blade Runner. I think it's boring. I don't think it's a good movie.
That is how I felt the first time I watched Blade Runner as well. I've come to appreciate it more, but yeah,
I don't particularly appreciate it. I appreciate The Matrix. Interstellar, good movie. I think it's overhyped.
I think Interstellar feels too deep for me.
I think it's trying to be really deep, and it only manages about 70% of how deep it thinks it is.
Okay.
The Martian, great movie.
Love The Martian.
But appreciate. That makes me feel like I have to go to something a little bit older, something that inspires more from it. To where I go, oh, gosh, I hope Blade Runner doesn't win. I'm picking The Matrix.
Blade Runner won 55%, but The Matrix was second with 25%. A quarter of the people went that way.
And I admit, I know this is a valid opinion out there that Blade Runner is great. It inspired a lot of things. A lot of people love it. There's a reason it eventually got a sequel / reboot / something. I just don't care for it. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I've got one more for us today. Which is the more tragic villain? The choices were Darth Vader, Gollum, Magneto, or Severus Snape.
Ooh.
Nobody got a majority.
I want to vote Magneto. And my personal preference, Gollum second, but I think Darth Vader takes it over Gollum. Snape's last.
Okay.
But I think Magneto should take this. I don't know if he does, but I think he should.
He truly has a tragic backstory.
Yeah, and one of the most valid arguments for his side and compelling cases as a villain, to where he's a villain, but is he really the bad guy?
One of the comment questions that were generated here was, Snape isn't a villain.
Yeah, there's arguments on various sides of that, for sure.
But Gollum won this one. And that's a fair
I'm okay with that. He was my second. I ultimately kind of went to, I think, the generational and real world groundedness of Magneto. It takes it from me. But Gollum was my close second.
Yeah, Gollum, he was not a player in his own destiny. He gets his hand on the ring and it was already, convincing him to go for it. And he just did not have the strength of character to overcome the tug of the ring. The poor guy never had a
reason
shot.
Why Gandalf tells Frodo and us that we should pity him.
Yep. So I said no one had a majority, but he had 49%. So it was close. Magneto actually was in last. And I think that's because too many people don't truly understand his backstory.
Yeah, I don't know. That just feels wild and wrong to me.
Vader, 17%. And I think people don't like the Anakin Skywalker storyline when they see what an idiot he is. And maybe that's the writing. Maybe that's Hayden Christensen. I don't know.
I think it's neither. I think it's, no offense to everyone who thinks this, old people clinging on to one thing when not accepting this is entertaining.
Maybe it's the midichlorians' fault.
There is that. Yeah.
All right, so that's where we'll stop on this particular episode. There's plenty more polls out there, and we'll be back in the future to talk about more of them.
Absolutely, I'll get more things wrong.
If you did not know, we have a daily poll on Fantasy for the Ages YouTube channel. Look for it. There's a polls thing. I have it show up pretty prominently on the page. And throw your ideas in there and feel free to comment as well. We love hearing from you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we'll leave it then. Zach, any final word?
That's all I've got. I mean, for the most part, anything that I got wrong, I'm okay having my wrong opinion this time.
And even when you had a wrong opinion, I would say you had valid reasoning. You are a logical young man. Yes.
Sometimes.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. And if you want to check us out on Patreon, the link is down in the show notes. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.